Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session on prehabilitation before major surgery. So today I'm going to be talking about this evolving concept called prehabilitation. As anesthetists, we play a crucial role in ensuring patient safety during surgery. However, our roles are evolving as perioperative physicians, where we also stand at a crucial position to lead and contribute to rehabilitation programs. And this can translate greatly to improve patient outcomes following major surgeries. So today, let's explore the benefits, components, and the implementation of rehabilitation program before major surgeries. I am Dr. Susan Paulin. I'm a liver transplant anesthetist and intensivist, and I'm happy to meet you all on this session. So what is prehabilitation? So prehabilitation means enhancing an individual's functional capacity to withstand a forthcoming stressor. In our cases, it is a major surgery. So what happens during major surgery? So any surgery induces a physiological stress response. As a response to this stress, your body regulates and secretes counter-regulatory hormones and cytokines. So these initiate a cascade of events such as the production of acute phase proteins and whole body protein catabolism. The end product is production of more glucose and breakdown of proteins and fats in order to produce more glucose. This is also compounded by the fact that there will be presence of insulin resistance, leading to more glucose production. So there are different systems in our body which work together in an integrated fashion, such as the endocrine, hemodynamic, and the immune responses to re-establish the body's dynamic steady state. So what does the endocrine system do? It will help with the catabolization of body proteins in order to support the energy production and the synthesis of inflammatory proteins. What about the hemodynamic response? So this tries to maintain the plasma volume and the cardiovascular homeostasis, and in turn supports the elevated oxygen demand. What about the immune system? The immune system will produce both pro and anti-inflammatory cytokines in order to reduce the tissue damage, eliminate infections, and initiate the healing process. So what happens when the body is not able to initiate these responses as per plan? Then they will end up with multiple postoperative complications following the surgery. So when looking into the risk factors which lead to postoperative surgical complications, so some modifiable risk factors have been identified. So which are as follows. There is presence of poor cardiopulmonary reserve, sarcopenia, frailty, elevated or augmented catabolic response, and the presence of multiple comorbid conditions. So these conditions have been recognized as some risk factors which lead to poor surgical outcomes, which can be modified as part of the rehabilitation program. So let's look into each of these factors and how they get affected. So during major surgeries, your oxygen consumption is increased as much as 50%. And when there is inability to increase the cardiac output in order to meet the systemic oxygen requirement, the patients end up with serious postoperative complications such as myocardial infarction, kidney dysfunction, surgical site infections, and intestinal anastomotic leaks. So this will be translated as poor exercise capacity. So what are the factors that we see here is inadequate cardiac reserve, myocardial ischemia, disease-related deconditioning, which is seen in specific disease conditions such as malignancies, liver diseases, kidney diseases, age-related deconditioning as seen in elderly patients, and poor pulmonary reserve. So assessment of this cardiorespiratory performance is very important in the preoperative period so that we can identify the at-risk patients who are at risk of developing postoperative complications and functional decline. With regards to the energy reserve and metabolic capacity, there will be catabolism of energy and nutrient reserve to sustain the energy production and provide substrates for healing. When a patient has poor energy and nutrient reserve before surgery because of malnutrition, sarcopenia, or frailty, they end up in trouble because they are not able to provide the energy reserves required for the healing. So these three terminologies are used in combination. They work together, interconnected, and the basic pathology behind these things are as follows. There is blunted inflammatory response to injury. There is immune incompetence. There is increased risk of disability and death, even from minor stresses. So sarcopenia, frailty, and malnutrition are three important factors which contribute to major problems post surgeries. So while putting these two things together, the physiological reserve and the surgical stress, you can see that when the physiological reserve is high, even with high surgical stress, your recovery is acceptable or and excellent in case of low surgical stress. Whereas when you have low physiological reserve, there is delayed recovery when there is a low surgical stress, and when there is very poor recovery when the surgical stress is high. So how prehabilitation can help? So prehabilitation aims to improve the physiological reserve and the function. And when we compound this with the ERAS protocol, this can minimize the stress response and translate to better surgical outcomes. So what are the surgical outcomes that we are looking at? Faster recovery, such as decreased days in the ICU, decreased number of days in the hospital, quicker getting back to routine, and also decreased incidence of infection, lesser cardiopulmonary issues, and better wound healing. So these are the outcomes that prehabilitation can provide. So what are the different components of rehabilitation? There is medical optimization, there is involvement of physical exercises, there is supplementation of nutrition, and psychological support. So we need a multidisciplinary team involving a lot of specialists, surgeons, anesthetists, physicians, physiotherapists, nutritionists, and psychologists to implement this program. So looking at medical optimization, these are the various areas where we can optimize the patient medically before we go into a major surgery. So some substance abuse related factors such as alcohol misuse, smoking cessation, some medical issues such as anemia and poor glycemic control needs to be addressed. Optimization of pharmacotherapy and weight optimization or other things that we can look into it. So diagnosis and treatment are management priorities, and elective surgery can even be delayed if necessary to provide time to optimize these things. So briefly looking at each of these factors, coming to alcohol misuse, as you all know, the effects of alcohol misuse can lead to immunosuppression, cardiac insufficiency, hemostatic imbalance, and an exaggerated surgical stress response. So what do these patients stand at risk of? They can get pulmonary, neurological, and wound complications in people who are currently smoking, and thromboembolic episodes, sepsis, shock, and renal failure are seen with former smokers. There is higher rates of reintervention, readmission to the ICU, and resurgery seen in these patients. So a proper advice would be to abstain from smoking 4 to 8 weeks prior to surgery. With regards to smoking, carbon monoxide reduces oxygen delivery, while nicotine increases this heart rate, sympathomimetic properties of the heart, and increases the workload of the heart. So this can lead to cardiopulmonary complications, again, wound infections, impaired wound healing, bone fusion, and prolonged hospitalization and death. A minimum of 4 weeks of preoperative abstinence is advised for elective surgeries. With regards to weight optimization, underweight patients are at very high risk of wound infections and blood loss. Also, overweight patients stand at very high risk of contracting postoperative pulmonary and cardiac complications. So these patients need to undergo physical and nutritional interventions prior to the surgery, which can be continued in the postoperative period also. With regards to anemia, even mild anemia can impair the cardiac capacity and increased risk of postoperative or perioperative transfusions, which can lead to postoperative morbidity and mortality. So we need to diagnose and treat the cause.